Hey folks, how's it going? I just came across an article that was released in the last 23 hours from KOIN.com news. Portland, Oregon memo. Oregon and Washington substations intentionally attacked. Portland, Oregon, KOIN. After authorities said someone intentionally shot and damaged two power substations in North Carolina, cutting electricity to tens of thousands of families, News Nation obtained a federal memo warning about similar attacks in the Pacific Northwest. Power companies in Oregon and Washington have reported physical attacks on substations using hand tools, arson, firearms, and metal chains, possibly in response to an online call for attacks on critical infrastructure, the memo states. The aim, according to the memo, is violent anti-government criminal activity. In recent attacks, criminal actors bypass security fences by cutting the fence links, lighting nearby fires, shooting equipment from a distance, or throwing objects over the fence and onto the equipment, the memo continued. Both PG&E and Pacific Power confirmed to KOIN 6 News they are aware of these issues. PG&E is aware of a deliberate physical attack on one of our substations in the Clackamas area that occurred in late November. We are actively cooperating with the FBI and cannot at this time share many details about this incident as it is currently under investigation. Our teams have assessed the damage and begun repair to the impacted facility. Pacific Power. We are aware of the events and have security measures in place to protect our assets and keep our customers and employees safe and secure. We are working closely with industry partners and law enforcement to monitor the situation and will apply any emerging threat information to evaluate against our security measures to reduce the likelihood or impact of an attack where possible. As always, protecting the nation's energy grid and ensuring a reliable and affordable supply of energy are top priorities for the energy industry and Pacific Power. Clark County PUD said they have not had any issues in their area beyond homeless trespassing. FBI Portland Public Affairs Specialist Joy Jarris told KOIN 6 News, while our standard practice is to decline comment on specific bulletins, the FBI routinely shares information with our law enforcement partners in order to assist in protecting the communities they serve. We urge the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity to law enforcement. Okay, so it goes on to talk about the Moore County, North Carolina attacks. And then it mentions in January, a U.S. Department of Homeland Security report warned that domestic extremists have developed credible specific plans to attack electricity infrastructure since at least 2020. So naturally, that they're right off the bat, they're classifying it as members of white supremacist and anti-government groups. But we all know the government's definition of government's definition of white supremacists and anti-government groups is pretty much any white conservative individual. I mean, that's just a standard thing with the government now. Here's the thing, it makes it sound like these attacks happened a couple of weeks ago, and then the ones in North Carolina happened, and then all of a sudden now they're being linked. If that was the case, that they should have already been linked together. If they're that similar, they should have immediately been linked together. So far as I've been able to find, I've done a little bit of searching, but so far as I've been able to find, no group has actually spoken out and taken responsibility for these attacks. There's no leads on any specific individuals responsible for the attacks. So blaming this on white supremacists and anti-government groups seems like a very generic blanket accusation to me. I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible. Uh, but I would say that there are plenty of other groups in the U.S. that have shown a willingness to cause chaos, destruction, and violence in the past couple of years. I mean, for all we know, it could be one of those. So right now, until specific evidence comes out linking it to a certain group, I wouldn't be the one to classify it as white supremacists unless they've got intelligence that they're not sharing, which is very possible. Uh, it just seems to me like the go-to is always, oh, it's white supremacists. That's always that's here in the last year or two. That's the government's catch-all for whoever's responsible for anything bad. It's white supremacists. Everything's because of white supremacists. You know, to me, that's foolish. If it's a legitimate group that's causing this problem, that's fine. But just initial knee-jerk reactions of calling this white supremacist is just stoking the fires of division in this country. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about is this came out like 23 hours ago. Fox News reported on it like 10 hours ago. I just found it. But apparently the attacks here in Oregon and Washington happened prior to the ones in North Carolina, at least from the way it sounds in the articles I read. So again, folks, just anybody that watches these channels, anybody that considers themselves a prepper should already be prepared to deal with power outages, loss of power, civil unrest, things like that. But just take this as a reminder, folks. Don't get complacent. Stay alert, stay aware. Don't freak out, don't panic, and don't be paranoid. But stay alert and stay aware of what's going on around you, and be prepared for things like this to happen. The likelihood of these incidents like these happening is climbing higher and higher. In Atlanta, there have been a rash of shootings around schools. Here in the past couple of days, I mean, that's been an ongoing thing, but the frequency of them just in the past couple of days has really gone up. I don't know if that could possibly be linked to the recent runoff election that was happening this past week, or if there's other motivation behind it. Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But take this as a reminder to stay on top of your preps, stay alert, maintain your situational awareness. That's going to be key in things like this. Because just from what I'm reading here, they're obviously linked in some way. Whether I doubt it's the same individual doing it or individuals doing it, because one's on one side of the country, the other's on the other side of the country. But there may be links between them. There may be some very legitimate links to them. And this could indicate more attacks going forward from here. So, I mean, there could very well be more of these over the next few weeks or months. So, just be aware. Apparently, it happened in Washington and Oregon, and then it happened in New York or North Carolina, based on the way everything reads out right here. Apparently, North Carolina wasn't the first, because the one in that Clackamas area occurred in late November. So, I mean, you're looking at least 2 weeks away. And the one in North Carolina just happened in the past couple of days, or past few days. So, again, folks, just stay alert and make sure you're ready to deal with power outages, service interruptions, and more importantly, be prepared to deal with civil unrest and avoid it. Don't go into areas where there's likelihood of civil unrest. The best way to protect yourself from things like that is to avoid things like that. So these large protests, these large events that are likely to draw civil unrest, best thing you can do is stay away from them. Worst case scenario, you get caught up in the violence, and you have trouble escaping the violence, or they could end up being traps set up to catch certain individuals, and I think y'all know where I'm going with that one. But anyway, just stay aware, stay alert, and make sure you stay prepped. Naturally, anybody, like I said, anybody that calls themselves a prepper, anybody that watches this channel and other channels, you should already be set up with backup power systems, food, water, and all that. But this is another reminder, folks. Stay on top of it and stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. One of my favorite quotes, I think it comes from Brian Black at ITS Tactical. Don't go to stupid places with stupid people doing stupid things. So, if you abide by that, you should be all right. But yeah, I mean, there very well could be more of these attacks later on. So just be aware of that, folks, and prep accordingly. That's all I've got. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't, as always. And until next time, folks, take care, and I'll catch you later.